it's like a chill and formal show, right? Like, not like...
Yeah, it's not like...
Well, we were supposed to be proper, but...
Super proper.
Yeah. You're supposed to have all your notes ready. The part of this show they don't know is that we haven't had lunch yet, so that kind of plays on to the fact that we're
trying to wrap things up for one.
Yeah, speaking of wraps, that would sound good right now. A nice wrap for lunch. Let's get this show started right now. As we jump into it right away. Why not? George sat down. Our cameraman's ready to go. We're ready to go. We're here with Kimberly from Parks and Rec.
Yeah.
I don't need an introduction because I always talk on the camera.
Yeah.
But you will notice that we have a new co-host because Ashley's not here.
Yeah.
She had a baby. I don't know if I'm supposed to say it on camera, but hey, she had one.
Yeah,
And
it's not a secret.
it's not a secret, but we do have Sam here, and she is just as good, if not better, pulling out information from people. So
She is so good at it. She
So-
speaks my language, which is fantastic.
yeah,
I'm bilingual. I speak Kimberly, I speak public. So I did write the news release about this program we're going to be talking about. It's something that will allow us to enjoy our parks and recreation.
I like this already.
Because we would not be able to enjoy them if we were being eaten by mosquitoes. You all remember probably Mosquitogeddon last year. Some of the mosquitoes were trying to carry away children. We are going to be even more prepared this year for the bloodsuckers because tell us why, Kimberly?
Yes, because we have launched an Integrated Mosquito Management Program, which is really exciting, and it starts all the way from the beginning of educational awareness, being proactive and how to stop the mosquitoes in the larval stages before they become adults, all the way to what happens after they become adults. So we're looking at trapping mosquitoes, we're looking at spraying for mosquitoes. It's kind of awesome.
That's all fun. I mean, when I saw Mosquito Management Program, I didn't know if it was like you were training mosquitoes to manage each other.
Or like helping them to be better
We
leaders.
could.
Yeah.
It's controlling the adult mosquito population as best we can through different factors,
Yeah.
which, like, you know, caveat, I could talk about mosquitoes for hours, so forgive me if I start going, like, derailing.
That's why we're here. We have 10 minutes to squeeze in hours of talk.
Yeah.
Ooh,
And
I'll
so-
talk fast.
So let's kind of go through the parts of the plan one by one, starting with the larviciding, and that was something that I remember last year we had to kind of make people understand. Like we do have the city does have larviciding, but sometimes it depends on like we can't. It has to be in standing water. It has to be kind of like this and that. So I guess how would you say the larviciding program? And to be clear, larvicide, for those of you who don't know that word, it means killing the mosquito larvae before they become adults.
So, yes, so the larviciding is one of the best proactive measures that we can do. So if we're not able to clear the standing water, so there's, tree stumps, tires, gutters, things like that in your yard that hold that standing water, bird baths, ponds that can't be cleaned out and filled with fresh water. So if it's standing water, then it does need to be treated for chemicals if you cannot empty it.
And so we're just going to be going around and treating all of the standing water that's on public property that the city is responsible for.
Exactly, because there's a lot of places that we can't reach with just like normal throwing. I'm gonna like throw this part out for you guys as well. So I'm gonna
Grab this stuff. Bring it. Show the
We got
people.
some visual aids here.
Yeah.
We have some visual aids. So these are briquettes that we use to treat our places.
Okay.
So any of the drainage ditches that have flowing water, we are not going to larvicide because if it's flowing, this is gonna wash away and mosquitoes aren't gonna lay their eggs there anyways. So like the duck pond right now, in any of our ponds that we have that we don't have a fountain.
You said duck pond.
I know, I said duck pond. Which there
We're
will be-
working on it. They're going to start construction this year.
Yes, construction will start this year. There's
We're just a whole other episode. We don't.
TBD on that.
Wait,
like,
hold on. I'm not
kind of
even gonna guarantee an
TBA.
episode on that.
So we have the briquettes and we have granules that we use and different. It just depends what the water source is, and we always read the labels prior to applying this to the standing water. That's one of the most important things that they preach in our applicator classes, is because we do go to class to learn how to control these.
Because you don't want them to be harmful to
They're
the environment.
chemicals.
Exactly.
Yeah.
They
And
need to be
people.
handled responsibly.
In people, I guess. Yeah,
Exactly.
that's true. You don't want them to be harmful to people.
No, and when we hold these outside, like we always wear gloves and everything like that. This is what we use on city property, but there's plenty of things that people can use at home that you can buy at your local stores. So this is one. The mosquito dunks look like donuts.
So you endorse this.
We do endorse
Okay,
this.
so I will show the people. Donut.
And
mosquito dunks.
And you can get them at
Maybe not
Lowe's,
the brand.
Home Depot, whichever. So, but for the city side of it, we're also, in addition to kind of being more comprehensive with the larvicide, we're also being a little more scientific in the way we're looking at like rainfall totals and that kind of thing. Like we know when the rain falls, okay, it's time to go kill the mosquito babies.
Yes, because so anything that has about an inch of standing water, it could even be a little less, is an opportunity for the mosquitoes to lay their eggs.
Yeah.
And in saying that, mosquito eggs can lay dormant for like years and years. So Texas is actually, like 4 years. Like it's nuts.
They're just hanging out there? Like,
hanging out. And the entomologists that you go through your class with, how cool would it be to like study bugs for a living? They said that one of the worst things in Texas is our tires. That's like one of like the number one offenders for holding standing water in Texas.
I think we did a cleanup recently, KVB did, and they had all those tires removed, and I was just amazed there was that many tires.
Thank you, Christy, and all the volunteers that do that stuff because it's helping our mosquitoes.
So we are trying to treat the larvae as much as we can, but of course sometimes they will grow to adult mosquitoes, and that's when the mosquito spraying comes into play. So I understand with the plan that we kind of updated our mosquito map. Can you kind of talk about what's new there?
Yes, so our mosquito map is divided into 18 different sections, and in accordance with the label of the mosquito spray that we use, we do have to notify the public minimum of 24 hours before we spray. So it's several days after the rainfall and the water accumulates that we would go spray, because it's not that the rain falls and adult mosquitoes are like that. It takes a while for the mosquitoes to hatch and become adults, so there is a delayed response in spraying because we are larviciding, and then once we know that there is a problem with the adult mosquitoes, then we go out and spray. We don't just go out to spray just to spray because
you're taking care of, you're hoping that the preventative measure of the killing the larvicide doesn't get to the adult stage.
And the chemical that we use is non-selective, so we want to use it as little as possible because it will kill anything and everything, including our super wonderful honeybees that we really need for pollination. And we don't want to do that, and that's why we spray at nighttime and not the daytime.
And that's really good to know, because a lot of times if people are getting eaten up by mosquitoes, they get kind of antsy wanting to see when the trucks are coming. So they'll say like, I haven't seen the trucks in my neighborhood, why aren't you spraying? Well, we are, but it's just at night when we're not maybe
after the bees come home.
Exactly. And one thing I do like about the new map is that it's actually kind of divided up by zones, so people can, so when we make these announcements saying we're going to spray for mosquitoes, we can actually say, because it does take a couple of days to spray the whole city, we can say we're going to be in this zone on this day and that zone on that day. So rather than kind of wondering when the trucks are going to come, you can already kind of have an idea when that's going to happen.
Exactly.
Specifically on the zones, like is it, so let's say a zone, that area is just being, I don't know, the hot spot and being swarmed. Is that where y'all will go to? Not necessarily the whole city, maybe?
Yes.
Okay.
So, and that comes through some of the mosquito trapping that we're going to be starting this year, which is really great. It'll help us understand what types of mosquitoes are there and how many, and if it's of a nuisance mosquito or a biting mosquito, which one we need to treat for. So we don't want to overspray, so the adult mosquitoes get immune to it, and then we just spray for nothing. So we want to make sure that we're applying properly.
Well, let's talk about the mosquito trapping program, because that's totally new. So we're trapping mosquitoes and basically kind of like screening them for illnesses and doing that kind of thing. And more visual aids?
Visual aids, bring them on.
So
we got this bad boy.
One of the best things to do, so in order to understand what it is that you're trying to kill, you have to become it or study it, whatever. We're gonna study it.
I don't want to fly around.
I don't want to be a mosquito.
You don't want to fly around?
I get killed by these things.
I don't want to be swatted.
That wouldn't be nice. We have two different type of traps. This is one type of trap that we have. So these are gravid traps. And so in order to understand what type of mosquitoes that we have, and the mosquitoes, we'll know all kinds of information from it. Like not all mosquitoes carry the same type of diseases. Only some mosquitoes carry some diseases.
Okay.
So we know what we need to keep an eye out for by that. So it's a really great way to keep our community safe and healthy by trapping them. Monday mornings we'll be putting them out. and it'll be bi-weekly. So Monday mornings we put them out. They run 24 hours. Staff goes out, collects the mosquitoes. We overnight them to Austin, to the State Department of Health Services. And Wednesdays, their lab goes crazy with mosquitoes from all over the state. They test them and they post all their results online. If any of our mosquitoes do test positive for any kind of diseases, they let us know, so then we can notify the public that way.
Run!
Yeah.
Exactly. Or,
or
wear clothing, put on bug spray with
stay inside.
They don't have to run.
Stay
Yeah.
inside.
Intermediate steps you can
Rabid
take there.
mosquitoes out here.
Well, they don't carry rabies, but yeah. And
You never know.
so
That's why we test them.
So I see that there's a little plastic thing here that's got a mesh kind of thing on top. So is this kind of like pulling the mosquitoes out when they get in here?
Yes.
Like they get pulled into this box?
So there is a hole in this. So when the mosquitoes come down here, these are all of our stuff is battery operated.
Yeah, there's some like electronic things here.
There it is.
See,
It's
hear
on
that?
now.
And so you turn it on and you let it sit here overnight. So if you want to put your hand under here, you can feel like a little bit of that like fan sucking up the air.
Oh, okay.
So the mosquitoes will go up there and they get trapped up there. And then the next day staff comes around.
Switches it off. Oh, there it
It's
is.
a little tricky. And we bring out our handheld aspirator, which is really cool. And so we turn it on, and then it sucks up mosquitoes into here, and then we place them into here, and then
This little jar.
and then we mail them to Austin.
So there's a lot of preventative measures, a lot of, I guess, time, effort, and studying going into the program itself to help keep Victoria from having to deal with so many mosquitoes.
Yeah, exactly. Before we kind of like wrap this up, you did mention the kind of the larviciding and the ways to treat kind of the baby mosquitoes for the general public. What else can people do to kind of do their part to make sure we cut down on our mosquitoes? Because at the end of the day, all of our stuff is taking place on public property. What can people do on their own private property to protect their own selves from mosquitoes?
So the best thing that people can do is personal protection. So there's a lot more private land than there is city land. So it's making sure that there's no standing water on your property or standing water for long periods of time, emptying things out, larviciding where necessary, and then wearing protective long sleeve clothing, wearing DEET if there do become adult mosquitoes. So yeah, that's really the big one is just kind of, helping that out, because our mosquito sprayers can, only go 300 feet. We try to work with the wind to where it brings further, but we can't get into people's backyards. And that's really the big one.
Oh, we're bringing something else
For
up.
adults, we do, this is something that a lot of our crew members do use at home in case that, we are not able to be extremely effective, because mosquitoes can travel up to like hundreds of miles. So even if you are doing really good in your backyard, doesn't mean your neighbor's doing really good. So if there are adults flying around, make sure you read the label and you.
Cool. So it's your job, Victoria, to take care of your neighbor as well.
Yeah, it takes a village. Is what they say.
To kill tons of mosquitoes.
Yes.
Or the mosquitoes take over the village.
Yeah, and then it's a mosquito village. We don't want that.
Well, thanks, Kimberly, for being here.
Yeah, thanks for
Sam,
coming over.
for providing more of the knowledge, because I'm learning as well about the mosquitoes and not the
As we
problem
all
that
are.
we're going to have in Victoria, because Kimberly and Parks and Rec are figuring it all out. So,
Yeah, our crews are amazing.
and we probably can stay up to date with some of this if it does get to that point through y'all's Facebook, I would imagine.
Yes,
Okay.
and we will be creating that information on our website, so it'll be easy to find,
Perfect.
as well as the tips and tricks.
I'll just put that in the video here.
Yep.
Go to their
It'll be around
website.
here somewhere,
Go to their
right?
Facebook. Great episode. Tons of information.
Yeah.
Thanks, Kimberly, again. High five to
thank
everybody.
you.
Me
Sam,
too.
thanks.
Thank you,
Thanks for
Kimberly.
having me on.
Victoria, high five to you as well.
Yeah,
Once
give a high
again,
five to yourself, because you're
I've
awesome.
talked about this forever.
this is the show without a name, which is why it's so random at times. See y'all.
Bye. I can talk for hours about mosquitoes.
Yeah, so could I, but like.
I
You
could
know,
too.
People don't want to listen to it, I guess.
No, it would be cut really quickly where they can understand it. There's points where I know we can cut out anyway.
Like when I was like, my brain stopped.
Well, that would be one. Fine. It worked out. I think it was great. I saw George chuckling a couple times, and when I see that, I'm good with it.
The show without a name was filmed in front of a live studio audience.
Yeah.